Speaker, I'll keep my speech short to allow other members to speak. Mr. Speaker, here we go again, Groundhog Day. We are faced with the same bad deal for our country's future. In February, we provided the Prime Minister with guidance as to what was needed to get support in this House. The Malthouse Agreement compromise was just a compromise. The Malthouse compromise was just that, a compromise to find the middle ground to secure a deal. I respect the Prime Minister's attempts to approve the deal. However, it has been a failure, and since the EU are refusing to improve the deal, then we need to just leave. We need to leave the European Union on the 29th of March and deliver on the referendum promise. After weeks of negotiations, all we have is an agreement, which has not changed the wording of the backstop, but simply supplements it. These changes only limit the risks posed by the backstop. They do not remove it entirely. As a sovereign country, we need the ability to leave the backstop unilaterally. We should not have to ask the EU for permission to forge our own future. This is not about taking back control of our own destiny. This is surrendering control. As the Attorney-General has said, the legal risk remains unchanged. And if this legal risk remains unchanged, then the bad deal remains unchanged. So what next? Where do we go from here? It seems strange to some, Mr. Speaker, but I propose that we keep our promises and leave the European Union without a bad deal. According to Hansard, the Prime Minister has said over 120 times that the UK should leave the EU on the 29th of March. Well, when today's vote is defeated, the best option left for the UK is to go to WTO rules, just like the Prime Minister has indicated previously. This deal remains a bad deal for the reasons I've mentioned. However, let us not also forget the other issues. If this deal were to pass in its current form, we will still be subject to decisions from the European Court of Justice, decisions which will directly impact on our laws and subsequently our sovereignty. Additionally, we must still pay the European Union the £39 billion just for the right to leave. No, that is not good enough. The Prime Minister has been right all along that no deal is better than a bad deal. And if this place considers their deal to be a bad deal today, then we need to leave without a deal. Mr. Speaker, we need to invest the £39 billion in our own country. I'll carry on, thank you. Right. We need to invest in skills, the new cutting-edge industries of tomorrow. We need to reinvigorate our fishing industries and allow our hard-working fishermen to keep their catch. We need to invest in education and the next generation, invest in policing, we need to have safer communities, and invest in our businesses to help them during the transition. It's time we had confidence in our people and in our country and invest in its future. And it's time to deliver what the British people voted for. Mr. Speaker, trust takes years to build and seconds to break and forever to repair. Let us stick to our word, let us keep our promises and deliver on the referendum result. Let us build faith and not tear it down. Let us look beyond the borders of the EU and trade globally, and let us finally take back control. This withdrawal agreement sets the blueprint for our country's final deal with the EU. We have given far too many concessions, and it's time to stand up and say no more. We must deliver what we promised, and this evening, Mr. Speaker, I will be voting against this withdrawal agreement. We need to send a strong message to the EU that Britain deserves better.